Welcome to Module 3. In this module, we are going to study about the theory of relativity which was proposed by Einstein. He came out with the world famous formula E is equal to mc square, where E is the energy, m is the mass, and c is the velocity of light. This energy says that time and distance are not absolute. The time and distance are not constant, they will be changing. He says it very simply for us to understand. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. At the same time, when you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That is what relativity is, to be put in simple words by Albert Einstein. He married Mileva Maric, who was 3 years older to him, and they had 2 children. His mother had earlier rejected this proposal, but they finally got married. But their marriage did not last for long. They got divorced, and he married his cousin Elsa the same year. Elsa's marriage with Einstein actually proved very successful as he rose to world fame. In 1915, he published his general theory of relativity, which provided an new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. He won the Nobel Prize in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations, and the press actually lauded him. His papers were filled with his names. Now let's read. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Indeed, 2 perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy, that is E is equal to mc square. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. She thought Mileva was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had 2 sons. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. Now let us check your understanding. When did Einstein publish his general theory of relativity? Who was Einstein's second wife? The world's most famous formula by Einstein is check. The answers are: in 1915 he proposed the general theory of relativity. Elsa is his second wife, and the formula is E is equal to mc square. Watch the next module.